you may have seen posts like this.
Are you on my Chinese manufacturing warehouse TikTok?
Now you know China made everything.
A quick search shows creators are claiming to have the inside scoop on where to buy luxury goods, direct from manufacturers in China.
Grab one, I won't let you down.
Some of the videos appear to be taken down or deleted, but many are being reposted elsewhere. So what's behind the volume of these videos? A researcher that looks at cybersecurity and misinformation says some of the videos have signs that they could be part of an organized campaign. And that campaign could be in protest of Donald Trump's 145% blanket tariffs on Chinese goods.
How do Americans survive under Trump's?
Chinese propaganda back in the day used to be like very aggressive and negative, and now it's like a bit more profusely positive. You wouldn't think this is propaganda because they're just talking about great Chinese goods. But then there are several things that to someone who pays a bit more attention, like you can detect that.
She says some of these accounts have only a few followers and very recent content with little engagement, which could mean they are bots.
This is freaking bad.
She also says some of these videos have technical glitches, which can happen when someone's trying to make a coordinated attempt to repurpose and post many videos with one message.
The repetition of certain key messages, like keep saying we have the best supply chains, keep saying we have the best quality.
Without further research, she says it's unclear to tell exactly who could be leading the charge in sharing these videos. She says the ongoing trade war with the US could push either manufacturers or the Chinese government to promote manufacturing in the country.
The likelihood that China will activate a broad area of soft power resources regarding policy developments that are as significant and huge as the recently imposed tariffs by the US is really high. So that's like the main argument for it. The main argument against it is that it could also be that this is actually more of a bottom-up approach, because these new tariffs have potentially devastating consequences for a lot of Chinese manufacturers.
Who are the suppliers behind Lululemon?
And so you've seen these videos and say you want Lululemon leggings. How can you tell if the product is authentic? Lululemon told CBC in a statement that it does work with suppliers in countries including China, but it says it does not work with the manufacturers identified in the online videos. A business professor I spoke to says these videos do give a rough explanation of how our supply chains work. And he says North American companies often do have contracts with Chinese manufacturers where they provide a blueprint of a shoe, for example, in order to make the product.
It does look to me like it is quite a deliberate strategy, probably supported by the Chinese government as a way of undermining US intellectual property. And they're just taking the runoffs or the excess from their production lines and they're saying, hey, we have all of this stock available. Why don't you just buy it from us direct?
Very few people know those suppliers because most of them have signed a confidential agreement.
In the past, he says China has been quick to crack down on this activity, but that could be changing because of the ongoing trade war with the US.
I think it's a bit of a calculated risk as a way to say, hey, US, you need to drop your tariffs and we'll go back to protecting your IP.
Now, here's a few things to consider. If you are in the US, buying direct won't get around the tariffs. And starting May 2nd, products made in China valued at less than $800 will be subject to new taxes. Another supply expert told me that while some videos might advertise a pair of jeans for $1.30, the suppliers often want you to buy the product in bulk. So 50 pairs of jeans. And then you have to pay tax on top of that.
If a consumer has placed an order and is receiving delivery through courier, those added costs will need to be paid at the delivery point, and the consumer needs to pay those.
And while Canada doesn't have the same tariffs on apparel from China, the misinformation expert I spoke to says it's important to be aware of credit card fraud.
Political and the economic often overlap, so there might be people piggybacking on this, knowing this is a political, like, trending topic, but they actually are just there to, like, defraud some American consumers, and there might be some economic incentive to extort a bit of money.